Good evening. Welcome to the live Sunday night analysis show. We have the one and only Stephen. Good evening, Stephen. How are you?
Evening, Mickey. Ben, I would say looking forward to it, but we're here again to dissect another defeat. It's almost like that. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh, I don't think it's that bad. I think, a couple of silly mistakes. But to be fair, mate, I think, with the players we've got to come back, I think it's not too bad. I think some of the subs were poor, but we dig into them. And I think some of the setups were a bit poor. But, yeah, there's loads to talk about. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
All good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad.
Looking forward to chatting through this, I guess.
Definitely. No, definitely. I think it's going to be interesting. There is. It's going to be honest and upfront debate. And yeah, as always, what you'd expect from us. We won't sugarcoat it, and yeah, we'll crack on. So, without further ado, we'll hit this. Right then, good evening, and right. Let's crack on with the game first, and then we'll come to all the other bollocks what seems to be flying around and whatnot, and we'll discuss that a little bit later on. My first question to you boys was, okay, we were unlucky, but I think there was a few opportunities missed to make subs, which we didn't make at the time when we possibly needed to. Maybe 3-2 up, when they were 3-2, we should have, or when we were 3-2, we should have made it because I think they were there for the taking. And also, why are we playing Hutch and Lenny 3 times in a week for? If we're worried that they're, made of glass to a level and they're getting older, again, why play them 3 times in a week? But look, anyway, We'll start with the game. We'll start with you, Ben. Congratulations on your new show with Jay, the Fantasy EFL show. If you've not seen it yet, make sure give it a follow and whatnot, and check it out. It's quite good. It's not bad at all. So yeah, let's have your views on the game. Obviously, yesterday.
Well, first and foremost, mate, just disappointing. Obviously, having worked really hard to get back into the game. The reoccurring theme for me, mate, and this isn't just a Harris thing, it probably goes back all the way to Rowett, really, but the individual errors that we seem to make and cost us goals is just fucking incredible. And if you go through every goal individually, and I've watched it a couple of times today, it's just, I know Harris said it's un-Millwall-like. It's unprofessional football-like. Like their fourth goal. I get tired legs, but to have no pressure on the cross, no one within 5 yards of the geezer to get a free cross in, and then to let the geezer have a free header inside the 6-yard box, you wouldn't see that at Sunday League level. It's so bad. And as I say, I get it. There's a lot of effort being gone back into getting back into the game. 2 of the goals, they literally made 2 passes. The first one, we had 8 men behind the ball, and they made 2 passes, and they were in our 6-yard box. Like, you can argue it's the quality of their players, and they are good goals from their point of view, but they're fucking from our point of view. And that's the worrying sign for me. In the 2 games you've seen so far this season, the goals we've conceded are so soft and so unavoidable. But yeah, obviously, just disappointed, mate.
I don't think Jensen was necessarily, or Jensen, whatever you want to call him, was necessarily fully to blame. I think maybe a more confident keeper possibly on there, but I think he's still, there. I don't think the blame was there. I think the fact is the defenders just didn't seem. I mean, they just, I don't know, the one where Lenny and Hutch were pretty much looking at each other as if to say, like, to you, no, to you, no, to you, no, to you. Oh, well, it's gone in. Just seemed to me like fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. No fault to Jensen for any of the goals. He actually made 2 really good saves. I think one was at 3-3. I think they literally broke straight away, and he made a good save straight away, and then he made a decent save at 4-3 at the end. So no blame on him at all. The Hutch one, I don't know if it's a case of he hasn't a full pre-season. He's obviously come in to be covered this season for the likes of Tanganga.
Oh,
sorry. No.
Sorry, there's an important bit here, by the way. Did you just mention the man who shouldn't be named, Ben?
Who's that?
I'm not going to mention his name, but he used to be He used to be a manager for us last season. Because if you did, then it's £10 in the key, mate.
Well, row it.
Oh, there's another one. There's a score for you.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, the Hutch thing for me, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for yesterday and just say that he's not up to full match fitness yet. But it wasn't his finest performance for us, I wouldn't say.
No, I think it was. I mean, Stephen, what's your views? And then I'll ask you a question about the what do you call it? Remember, if you are watching, make sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already. The like helps us with the algorithm, and the subscribe, just make sure you tick. That wasn't Ben farting, by the way. Make sure you tick the bell, and then obviously any show we do, if there's any special announcements or anything else we do, you won't miss a new episode. So yeah. So Stephen, your thoughts on yesterday, fella?
Well, echo what Ben said. It's disappointing. I don't think that none of the goals for me are Jensen's fault. You could argue the second one, maybe he could have come out, but the cross was pinpoint. It was perfect for the bloke to get his head on and score. So I don't think people are jumping on Jensen because of what happened last week. And it's a case of we've conceded another 4 goals and he's the keeper, so he's getting a battering. I don't buy that this week. Sean Hutchinson was always going to be cover. I think I think Bailey put a comment on. He did only play about 7 minutes, 7 minutes on in the Carabao Cup. So, that to me, I don't consider that maybe playing 3 times in a week. But Hutch, he's obviously not the first choice. If Tanganga's on the pitch, do we concede the 4 goals we did yesterday? I don't think so. I don't know if he'd be able to stop all of them, but I don't think. Certainly, when they broke for the first goal, Sinclair Armstrong just left Hutchinson for dead. Initially, I don't think Tanganga would get caught out quite like that. It's just disappointing. We've scored 3 goals away from home. We've got nothing for it. Duncan Watmore, as much as I know Jay, who's watching, give him an absolute battering. Saying he's not the answer. I still don't think he's necessarily the answer all through the season, but he started like a house on fire. You have to, tip your hat to him. He started very, very well, but it's just a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. As someone who I think's got off quite lightly, and people might say I'm being a little bit harsh here, but Joe Bryan, if you notice, the first goal comes down the left-hand side. The second goal is a cross from the left-hand side. The 4th goal is a cross from the left-hand side. I'm not saying Joe Bryan's solely responsible, because the centre halves have got to do what they, got to do the business and get their head on the crosses. But we concede a lot of goals from the left-hand side, and Joe Bryan seems to be the common denominator. And he was last season. It was only when Danny Mack come in that it stopped a little bit.
This is the question, isn't it? Why all of a sudden now, if you look at last season, why aren't we playing, Lenny right back, Danny left back? It just doesn't. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know why we've changed the setup so much. And also, I said on the show before the game on Saturday that I honestly believe that the team that finished at Portsmouth would start against Bristol, and pretty much near enough it did. Why Bradshaw's getting time over Langstaff, is, I don't know, it's madness to me, because when we went to Watford, I caught the train home with pretty much his family. And I was sitting there talking to him and going, hopefully, as per the story, what was out there with the toe injury, I said, well, with the toe surgery, I said, well, hopefully, he recovers from that toe surgery quickly and then he can get playing. And they went, he didn't have toe surgery. What are you on about? I said, well, it's been reported that he had toe surgery. And he went, no, he ain't had toe surgery. Yeah, he was stamped on and he had potentially a fracture or so. He's had it looked at in May. But from May onwards, so he had it looked at literally straight after the end of season, May time, and then he's back. Because things don't make sense to me. If he's got an injury, why are we playing him 64 minutes? Why are we playing him 30 minutes? If he's done, why is he training hard at in the training? You've got everything there showing you that actually he's there, yet we can't pick him. And it makes no sense, because if he was that injured, why are we bringing him on, or why are we starting him against Portsmouth? To me, it's just crazy. He's the player we should be playing. We should have a Macu on one end, a Marco on one side, Esso on the other. When we have that, Honeyman and Watmore even look completely different players.
Just going back to your first point, Mickey, sorry, Stephen, just on the Joe Bryan piece. Joe Bryan's always going to start at left back, just for the balance of the side, right?
And money, and the money's on.
Well, yeah, Joe Bryan is technically one of our best players. When I say technically, I mean as in with the ball at his feet going forward. He's a very, very good player. I don't think he's ever been a very defensive-minded fullback, wing-back, whatever you want to call it. So he's always going to start. The balance of the side in terms of being left-footed, he's always going to start. Danny's a better defender than him, 100%. But yeah, he's always going to start when he's fit, unfortunately. I think there's definitely an argument at the minute to push Lenny back into midfield and play Danny at right back, given the injuries. But I suppose you could argue Danny's unlucky to be out the side, given how well we played the back end of last year. But yeah, Joe Bryan's always going to play at left back.
I know, I agree, and that's look. Harris always mentioned the balance of the side, and I understand that. But you've got a left back who, let's be honest, he can't defend. So it is a little bit of a problem, especially if you've got Cooper not on his game, who's down the left hand side as well. The thing with Langstaff,
thing's weird.
It's weird. I don't know what's going on. You would think that, and I said this on a show we did over the summer, you would think that Harris has been crying out for the opportunity to work with a prolific goal scorer. He's been banging on about it, hasn't he? Even when his last spell with us, when Morrison and Gregory had gone. If you listen to him at Gillingham, he talked about bringing in prolific goal scorers. Not so much at Cambridge, because obviously he wasn't there for that long. But you would think he would be the prime candidate. 100 goals in the last 3 seasons. He can't get minutes. So it is a strange one. I don't know. What I would say though, and again, the comments might get at me a little bit for this, and I don't know what you guys think. We started the game really, really poorly. We know that. We went in, 2-0 at half time. It was poor. But the forward players got us back into and got us into the lead. I know one of them was a penalty, so I'm not going to, wax lyrical about that. But SA and Watmore, they're capable of playing football. Why last week it took us to be 2-0 down to start playing at home against Watford. This week it took us to be 2-0 down for us to start playing again. Why are we starting playing them? Why can't we start playing from the start? The players are capable of creating and scoring chances. Do it from minute 1, not 45 or 60 or whatever it is.
And there's been a lot of talk, Stephen, right, about play style. We actually played decent stuff. The first goal is a really good goal. It's a really well-worked goal with a bit of individual brilliance on the back end. I get at times we have to go long, but you watch Liverpool, well, certainly under Klopp, they're not just knocking it about like Man City. They go long, they turn the fullbacks. I think the issue we all have is we knock it long aimlessly to a Bradders, who he keeps saying is 5'10", and he's getting gobbled up by big centre halves. That's the issue. But we scored some good goals. Lenny's got to score his chance, by the way. I mean, it's a howler of a miss. But yeah, the first goal was a really, really, really well worked goal.
Absolutely, and
Yeah,
I
we
actually
do.
think it's not obviously the third. Obviously, you win a penalty, you score it. That's a little bit different, isn't it? Because it's the set piece, but the long throw into Watmore and Watmore's technique to score is excellent. It's a really, really good finish, and he deserves the goal. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you can have SA, and I said it. SA can't play 46 games because he's going to be hit and miss. But you're going to get from him moments of magic in games. It's whether or not we can finish it off. He finished it off against Portsmouth. He finished it off yesterday. It is going to happen. They just need some more support. And if in those moments, and I think Mickey touched on it, maybe, and I know that Harris has come out and said, didn't he, that we're a bit too flamboyant and he tried to shut up shop and all that kind of stuff. But at 3-2, if you've got SA and Watmore on their game and you bring on Langstaff at that point to try and kill the game off, you probably go and get a fourth goal. You probably finish it off. We didn't. He then went, I think SA went off for Danny Mack, I believe. I think that was the sub that was Matt. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I think you're right. I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Danny coming for it.
And it just put us. I mean, I wasn't there yesterday. I think Omar's going to be joining us, who was. I was playing cricket yesterday, and my dad was on the touch lot. He was with me watching the game, and he was trying to signal the score to me, and obviously we were 3-2 up, and then all of a sudden he's going 4-3, and I think what's happened? What's going? But I knew, being a million miles away from Bristol, what had happened. We'd gone 3-2 up, and there's a piece of commentary on the Sky Sports. If you watch it back on the extended highlights at 3-3, there's a chance, and the guy says,
the commentator says Millwall sitting deeper.
Continue to sit deeper. And I knew yesterday, when I was miles away from the ground, we'd sat deep as soon as Watmore had put the third goal in. It was so obvious what we were doing, and then, as you say, we can see 2 goals. So there has to be a balance. You can't just go all out attack. I understand that, but you can't. You also, you expect your 2 centre halves to come for crosses and get in the way and put their bodies on the line, and unfortunately, they didn't do that.
I think the thing is, right, we played 2 games, right? As in, forget the cup game. We did well, we won there. We started there with a great team, with a great starting 11, what basically just run at people and caused them problems. And obviously, we did well. The problem I've got is that I don't think we lost because we were the worst team against Watford or against Bristol. I think it was the fact of the tactics weren't right, and we got back into it by the skin of our teeth, and then we just didn't have that final push to be able to seal it off. Because realistically, at 3-2, if we'd have made the changes at 3-2, I would have probably left SA on. I would have swapped Hutch probably for Harding, and I would have brought Langstaff and Amarco on, and then all of a sudden, you suddenly inject in pace, and someone who's, Harding played well against Portsmouth. You could have pretty much sealed up the defence a little bit better than what it was, rather than just allow it to be what it was. It was down to me, tactics weren't fulfilled correctly, and that's what caused us problems. If they were, we wouldn't have been there.
To be fair,
but we have the 4 goals that we've let in, though, Mickey, are so bad. And
I'm not saying they aren't.
That's not down to tactics. That's individual.
Yeah.
Not doing your job as your centre half, or not doing your job as your fullback with Joe Bryan not stopping the crosses. Right. That's not a tactical error. That's individual error. And Watford game, Jensen, you can't count for your keeper chucking one in from a corner, can you?
No, look.
On the SA piece, again, I didn't see the full game. I'm only going on what I've read. I've watched a lot of the game back and highlights and stuff. But SA, by all accounts, was dead. He was flat, and he was completely and utterly dead. I can understand taking him off, but I guess you didn't have to go completely into our shells. So that's the problem. And Jay, I know Jay's watching, and I'm sure he would absolutely agree with this. We're actually missing Billy Mitchell. We're missing someone in the midfield to give us some energy. As much as I love Sav, and obviously, Denor's in there as well. I don't think they're giving us enough in games. Last week, I thought in the home game, the ball kept dropping into midfield and neither of them were there. And Watford kept picking up that second ball time and time again. Obviously, the cup game's a bit different. Massey was in there. It changes. So you can't really argue with that. But it just feels like we're missing. And even Honeyman potentially could drop back into that centre mid position to give us some legs to cover and get across. Look, I don't buy that you need holding midfielders to protect your defenders. Your defenders should be good enough to cut out those crosses, get the head on the ball, get something in the way. But it would help having maybe a runner in there that can get about a little bit. Billy Mitchell is not the saviour. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but in games where you do go 3-2 up, if you have got legs in midfield, it does give you something a little bit extra.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stats for Saturday's game. 15 shots, 4 on target. Bristol had 6 on target, scored 4 of them. We had 38% possession. Our pass accuracy is 68%. It's like 1 offside, 4 corners, and you just look at them and just going, we had 15 shots, but only 4 of them were on target. If they went the other way, okay, fine. Same as Watford. We seem to be hitting the crossbar and everything else. The last season we weren't scoring goals. This season we can score goals, and we ain't even got our top striker on yet. I mean, fuck me. Watmore's scored 2. He only needs 1 more, and that's totally what Bradshaw scored the whole of last season.
Well, I mean, we've solved one problem, but we've got another issue, haven't we, in defence? Again, I do think there's a slight overreaction, and Ben, I'll ask you what your thoughts are on this. Does Japhet Tanganga, if Tanganga had played in the first 2 games, are we saying we come away with perhaps 4 points rather than 0?
Maybe not the first game because it was complete keeper error, pretty much.
Right.
So you can't do anything about them. I think yesterday he stopped marshals that back line better. I'm not saying Hutch or Coots didn't do it, but like the first goal, like you said, Stephen, I don't think Sinclair Armstrong gets a free run or a 10-yard. He doesn't get 10 yards past Tanganga there. It's just it doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
So you could argue that goal then doesn't happen. The second, again, probably you'd like to think Tanganga might be. Well, I don't know. Again, it's individual error, isn't it? Like the first one, I'd say he's got the legs to cut it out. The second, the third, and the fourth are just so bad defensively from other players. Tanganga can't play left back, left centre back, right centre back.
No, but he's all over the place. Right? He would be potentially. You would think
good. He ain't that fucking good.
No, but he would be. Would he be forcing players? Is he a bit more vocal and whatnot? And
I'd like to think Hutch is doing that, right, Mickey? He's supposed to be there to be doing that. He's captain.
I mean, there was an interesting one I had the other day that okay, he isn't, but if Edwards was still here, would he have signed Hutch back? And probably wouldn't, is Hutch back for, I don't know, is it? It just seems as if we're doing him a bit of a service rather than I think his best playing times have gone. Good evening, Omar. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I've been listening to you boys in the car on the way home, so.
So you were there. Give us your view from there, mate. Is it as bad as we all thought it was? I mean, I think personally, Watford and here were just football as a whole and unlucky. I think we've shown good signs. I think we just need to be more aware of our surroundings and take our chances a little bit better and defend slightly better. But other than that, I think there's a good intent within the team potentially for us to do okay. Yes, we've let in 7 goals, but on the same level, we've scored 5 goals. So considering last year we'd be lucky to score 5 all season, 5 in 2 games ain't too bad, or 6, including Portsmouth.
Yeah, I mean, hello to the chat as well. I'll see you all say hello. Thank you. Hello, boys. Cool. I mean, yes, they had everything, didn't it? I mean, it's exactly what it was like at half time in the smoking area. It was if it goes 3, we're all going home and all that sort of stuff. It was doomsday, and it really like the first half was shocking. Like it was 2 chances, 2 goals. I think he had one chance afterwards where he fizzed it past to nearly make it 3 for half time. And then that second 20 minutes in the away end is probably the best 20 minutes I've had supporting Millwall in my life. Like it was unbelievable. Like the hunger, everything. It was just bedlam. It was crazy. And then you know where it goes, you know how it ends, and it went the way we thought it would. Obviously, I know Stephen touched on about Leonard coming, Danny Mack coming on for Essay. Leonard actually stuck himself. He started Leonard right wing, so he didn't actually go to a back 5. He kept it to a back 4 and put Leonard on the right. I didn't mind it. At the time, the players, I think you could see Bristol City were coming back into it. Essay was shot to dead when he came off, and I wasn't against that substitution. I think it's more Harris proving a point, saying, hello, I've got no wingers on the bench. But I suppose he could have brought a marker on at the time, maybe, as opposed to putting Leonard out there on the right. But do you know what? Like, it had everything.
Oh, my, sorry, mate. So with that, so when he checked, because he made a double sub, right? So he changed. Mack come on for Watmore, right?
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah. So then, I suppose then he proved the point. Now he's got no other winger to bring on. Then,
yes, still points down.
Maybe if we're to be acidic, he might be trying to prove a point there. But look, I mean, first half, 2 goals in the first half. I think you see them goals back, all 4 of them. I've said it all the time. If you've got Cooper and Hutch running back to their own goal, they're the worst defenders in the league at that. Hutch is aging. Cooper can't fucking run back to his own goal. And Sinclair Armstrong is exactly what we need. Like, he's got everything.
Yeah,
mate.
he is.
He's big. He's fucking quick. He turns and gets in behind. And I didn't know why we didn't do that in the first half. You see our goal, like, directly from the second half. Honeyman's running behind, picks out Essay superbly, and then the rest is history. Essay does a bit of magic and scores. We didn't do any of that in the first half. And I think you boys, Stephen, you said about... Yes, I've been on the show again. But I think Stephen said about why they're not doing the first half. I think Harris got into him and reminded them what we were meant to be doing almost. It was strange, like, because we didn't do any of that in the first half. Didn't get in behind them. Didn't show any attempt to try and attack and cause any problems. When we did, we had that chance with Leonard, and we didn't do that in the first half. Second half, we got lucky with the penalty. I mean, that was never a penalty in a million days.
No, it wasn't.
No. But like, we take it. I mean, no one would have appealed for it in the stadium, honestly. But we got it, and then got back to 2-2, and then obviously Watmore scored a superb goal. And look, I don't know. I think for me, my main thing for me, there's a few things. The fact that Hutch and Cooper can't be a centre half pair in this division anymore. Clearly, if you get in behind on the flanks, I think we're talking about how we're trying a bit more attack and effort. I think the fact that we've got Leonard and Brian both bombing on leaves them 2 isolated, and you saw that for the goals. You got them defending their own goal, and we're trying to put forward, try and get the fullbacks a bit more further on, and like that. Then what you're doing, you're exposing the 2 centre halves that one can't fucking turn to save his life, one's aging. Tanganga will fix that problem, I think. I don't know why Wes Harding didn't start yesterday for me. Like, at half time, I was saying to everyone, a penny for Wes Harding's thoughts, because he would have backed up Cooper in them situations. But Harris stuck with Hutch, fine, and he'll die by that decision. But I think also the goalkeeper, not to blame for the goals, but he doesn't feel any of them players with confidence in that back line. Even before the game, and I said it to a few people I was with, like, he didn't come over to clap the fans before the huddle. He waited, then came over and kind of sheepishly came over. I know he's a younger goalkeeper, but you're seeing the signs from him already, for me anyway, that he's a kind of, this opportunity is here for him, but it's a big opportunity for him, and I think he knows that. I'm giving him the opportunity. Obviously, we're giving the benefit of the doubt, but the fans start to turn on him. You see him start to get a bit more kind of iffy. I think, Ben, you're right to say he made a couple of good saves, but I think he doesn't feel the centre halves with confidence. When we talk about that 4th goal and the second where it's in the box and it's a free header, I think the goalkeeper, if you've got a confident goalie behind you, I think you're a bit more in, maybe it's obviously it's a new signing and time to bed in, but there is them the kind of situations where if you've got a 5-year keeper there that's been there for a while, then things wouldn't happen. So I think it's a combination of all that, really. But yeah, I mean, look, honestly,
just a quick one on the keeper zone as well. What was Roberts like at Pompey? Was he quite visibly vocal?
Yeah, I felt like that. I think you can see the difference in their age. I know it's only 4 years, but Jensen's 25 and he's 29. I feel like the opportunities for Jensen, he's obviously steps up to a new division for him. It's almost like a deer in headlights a little bit, I feel like. Hopefully, there's a keeper there. He made a couple of good saves yesterday, but even before, I was there at the ground quite early. I think a couple of fans that were in, as the team were getting off, gave him a bit of jip, and I think he kind of you know, he's only been one game, which I think is ridiculous to give him a bit of jip, but you want him to kind of like rise to that.
Puff his chest out and just go.
And I think also, like, when we went 2-0 down, the ironic cheers of him catching the ball and stuff like that, none of this is going to help him. But this is what happens to be a Millwall goalie. This is what you're going to go through. And we know if we're 2-0 down on Saturday at Hull, exactly the same thing is going to happen again. Look, you've got Andy Marshall there that's, you know, been around the block with Millwall, knows what's what, and is backing him. But he's got a job in his hands there. I feel like Jensen is that kind of, I don't know, he's obviously a good goalie, but to be a Millwall goalkeeper is a different kind of kettle of fish for me. And it's an
100%.
interesting point. I don't blame him for any of it. But
Roberts just gives you a little bit more confidence. So, you know, we had 4 shots on target with Watford. I think 6 on target for yesterday for Bristol. Roberts was in goal. We had no shots on target against Portsmouth. So, you know, it's in them against us. So I think he just gives us a lot better protection to a degree. But I agree with you with Harding. Harding played fantastically well against Portsmouth. Why he wasn't given the opportunity yesterday, I do not know. And when hopefully Tango's back against Hull on Saturday, and I think personally that Tango and Harding should be in that back four. I think we need to look at seriously dropping a couple, you know, Hutch at least. You know, we need to drop him because, or even Cooper. I don't know which one you want to drop, but they're just not capable. They're just they are worrying in that defence.
I think the chat right to say about the keeper. Sorry, Stephen. But you know, Sarkic had the same kind of thing this time last year.
Yeah.
The other end of it, but yeah, we'll see. Go on, Stephen.
Just to come in, when you were talking there, Omar, about obviously you were there yesterday about why does it take us to 45 minutes, and you said we didn't do anything in the first half. We never got in behind. My question is why? Why does it have to take a manager of professional footballers to say, look, lads, you know, give him a bit of a rocket? Because that's what, let's be honest, Harris would have gone in there and absolutely steamed through him because he'd have been fuming with the fact that the goal was conceded and we're not doing anything. I said it last week on, I think it might have been the Space. Watford last year, or was it the year before at home, we come out like an absolute train. Tom Bradshaw had a hat-trick inside half hour, killed the game. Okay, it was a bit flat in the second half. We're 3-0 up, killed the game, and you could see that Watford didn't like it. I know you're not going to score 3 goals in 30 minutes every single week, but if you've got the ball and you're trying to create chances, the other team can't score against you. I know it's an obvious thing. If you've got the ball, you can't concede, and it just, I don't know. It just frustrates me that it takes too much time on the Jensen bit. Again, I know the lads have said in the chat about Sarkic. Sarkic did have a couple of howlers, you know, a couple of games we did concede 3. Maybe not necessarily all his fault. There's a couple of chances that maybe he should have saved. So there is time. There is time for Jensen. I don't like that if he's getting jip after one game. I don't agree with that. I know that's what it takes to be a Millwall supporter. I understand that, but what's it going to? The bloke probably went home. He's making his championship debut last week. He's conceded from a corner. He's probably absolutely devastated. Turns up for his second game this week, and someone is absolutely on his back. I don't see how that's going to help anyone.
Mate. We're not going to let him, like, we can't. It's just always going to happen. We're not going to wrap him up in cotton wool, are we? And pat him on the back. He's grab a pair of bollocks and sort it out.
I think you need to be realistic. I mean, Chris Brown says there, you know, it's only been 2 games, and
that's
now
what I mean.
Some want to throw. Listen, right? You're supposed to be at a level, right? You've come in. I mean, he's on a long deal, so it's not as if we're just going to fuck him off. He needs to obviously have a little bit more about him and get into it. And then obviously he'll probably grow into the position. But right now, if I had both of them, right now, personally, Roberts gives me a lot more confidence in goal than Jensen.
Mickey, can I ask you though, based on what?
The way he commands the area, the way that he can get down to balls. Roberts was down quick, back up quick. He was commanding, he was shouting, he was telling people where to be, etc., etc. And I think Jensen just isn't like that. Jensen doesn't seem to be able to dive to the right. He seems to be, or left. He seems to like crouch down more than diving down. I just don't get the confidence from him. I'm not saying that he isn't. He's going to get that confidence over a timescale. But right now, Robert seems to have more than that. Then same as, it's the same really with probably Longstaff over Bradshaw. I don't have confidence as Bradshaw being the only man up front, as in I probably would with someone who scored 70 goals in 90 appearances. And rather than Bradshaw.
I must admit, though, I mean, Roberts, he didn't have a save to make against Portsmouth. So I'm of the opinion, look, if we keep shipping 3-4 goals every week, then Jensen's clearly got to come out of the firing line. I don't know. I know we're comparing him to someone who kept a clean sheet, but he also didn't really have an awful lot to do. So
this thing is though, right? I get where you're coming from, and I'm the same. Like, you back your keeper, you sign him for money, but every game matters in the Championship. And I know it's only 2 games in, but we could really be sitting here on 6 points now. And I don't blame him for yesterday as much at all. But every game matters, mate. How long do you go?
It does.
Before, and you start to press the panic button. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think there's 2 ways of looking at it as well, Steve. Isn't there? The first way is if he makes mistakes like he did against Watford, then he has to come out.
Yes, I agree with that.
But nothing he did, if we're saying that he doesn't instill confidence in the back 4, that needs to be addressed, right? But you can't, again, odds how bad our fucking defending was for the 4 goals. But none of them were his fault, right? So there's the 2 ways of looking at it. If he keeps having howlers like he did against Watford, then he's got to come out.
Oh, I agree. And that if you make another mistake like Watford, you probably don't see him much at all for the rest of the season. And Omar, I agree with your point. You can't just keep letting games go past. But yesterday, if you take the Watford scenario out of what happened yesterday, we conceded 4 goals, and I would say that probably 3 of them were defensive errors, mistakes from centre halves not getting to the ball. Obviously, Leonard, I don't know what he was doing for the first goal. So reliable usually, but they were mistakes. The second goal, as I say, maybe a confident goalkeeper might come for the cross, but it's pinpoint on the guy's head, so I'm not going to slate him too much. Everyone's looked at last week and seen what he's done, conceded 4 goals this week, and are absolutely hammering him. This is brilliant. Omar's being called out by Bailey for knocking his confidence.
I'm the most positive. At the end of the game, I will fucking howl. I will go for the players. I'll be honest. At the end, I'm like that. Like, they came over. I think that second half performance deserved for me. Like, I deserved a round of applause yesterday, and I appreciate the effort from the players yesterday. But I'll be first to fucking give it to them after the game. But during the game, I don't get on them. But that's just my opinion.
But I just think, and it's we'll come on to Harris and other stuff that's gone on. It is 2 games in. There are worrying signs, and we all can see it. But I just think that someone said, one of the guys in the comments, and I don't know if we starred it or whatever. We haven't got our 2, in my opinion, our 2 best players. They haven't been available. One is definitely back next week. Maybe the second will be with him, and maybe it might just give us a little bit of spark to turn things around. I'm trying to give the Omar positive spin. It's not all, Fleming and Tanganga will improve us. They will improve us. And
I said exactly the same thing on the way back the other day. Yesterday, sorry, Stephen, in the car. Like, I think even though we've scored, it sounds stupid saying it, we've scored 5 goals in 2 league games, but we've missed Fleming. I think we miss his presence in the forward areas. There's something to it where I think he offers a lot more, and not just his actual play, but more I don't know. I think he leads from the front, Fleming, and I think we do miss that a bit. I couldn't get over Langstaff not starting yesterday, if I'm totally honest as well, because you signed a striker for £700,000. He scored goals and goals and goals. You've got to give him the opportunity to play. And I don't know. I think it's whether it's maybe Bradshaw and Langstaff up front together, but you signed a striker to score goals and you're not starting him. Okay, you're easing him in. All right. But listen, ultimately, you brought him in to score goals. You either know he's up to it or not. And maybe Harris is thinking he's not up to it. Let's put that one out there. I don't know. But
I don't know.
I mean, all this stuff. But listen, you signed a striker to score goals and you're not even starting him. I don't know. I think to me
there's clearly something going on there, right?
Let's do it.
It doesn't add up.
We talked about the game. You've got a couple of minutes before you have to run off, Ben. So yeah, let's talk about it. There is some fucking big bollocks going on at the minute, mate. There's a fucking power play of some form, and it's madness. It's absolute madness, you know, and I don't understand, you know, the fact that Kelly signed today, you know, potentially we're going to get other players in the week. You telling me realistically that Harris knows fuck all about this? Don't be. You've got to be having a laugh. If you really, really believe that Harris knows fuck all about these signings coming in, then you're delusional.
I think, look, to stick up for Harris, though, mate, I think maybe you've just lost 4-3 after being 3-2 up and turning a 2-0 deficit to 3-2. You're probably frustrated after the game because you're thinking, if I had a few more players on the bench, and maybe you just got, you know, you'll flippantly say something, mate, when you're pissed off.
Oh, no worries. What about Portsmouth then?
What do you mean?
He did the same after Portsmouth. He did the same after Watford.
The one thing I will say, and I said to you last night when I called you, mate, the one thing I will say is if you keep making the same comments, you're giving the players the excuse as well. I watched Sal's interview after the game as well. And
he said
they asked him about it. And he went, listen, at the end of the day, you can't use that excuse as players. Ultimately, it was up to us. We've made the individual mistakes. We need to cut these individual mistakes out. But my fear is if you keep saying it, you're giving the players an out. You're giving them the kind of that subconscious thing of going, yeah, you know, we're a bit short at the moment. It'll come right once, you know. But ultimately, you score 5 goals and you concede 7 in 2 games. It's like that can't slide, and that's what's the problem. But I think Harris is obviously frustrated and he's made his point now. The one thing I'd say is, I love you, Neil, but fucking stop saying about it now. Like, you know, we'll have to wait and see.
I think 100%. I think it's as simple as this. Neil Harris, you are and always will be a fucking club legend. End of. You are a club legend, yeah? But even you are not bigger than the fucking badge.
No, but
that's it. But the thing is, he's not, because because of the way he's sitting there. You've got certain individuals what are running around pretty much directing a witch hunt, you know, with running polls and, you know, constantly getting involved in stuff and look at this, look at that, look at that, look at that, and constantly causing. I couldn't give a flying fuck if Neil Harris and Steve Gallen hate the sight of each other, right? Me and you do it, okay? No one knows, so it's perfectly all right. But I don't care if they hate each other, right? The fact that, but the fact that, you know, that there's deals being done, great, you know, and I don't believe that Harris don't know. I believe that Harris will look at the player, you know, they've got to be scouting reports or videos, and he's got to sit there and go, yeah, I could use him in the team or he can't. I think you've got to look at it and go that 6 months ago when Cav and Co were here, he probably had a lot more freedom and a lot more control to what he's got now. He's now answering to Gallen. And, you know, I've seen a lot of chat going, you know, well, he wasn't talked to about Gallen coming in. Who fucking cares? You're the coach. Who cares? When I'm in a job, I don't get discussed. My boss don't come to me and discuss who's going to be the manager above me. They will employ the person they feel is best for that job. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a world of football. Stop being fucking precious.
What's so in your opinion, I mean, what's Neil's not end game, but what's he? Obviously, he's trying to get players in. If he is actively involved in transfers or knows about transfers, what's his point in this? And that's what I don't understand.
I've got no idea. I've got no idea because.
Do you think he's trying to engineer himself?
I possibly. I think he's probably looking at an exit strategy, because when he was questioned about the length of his contract, he didn't want to talk about it at the fans forum. At the fans forum, he basically turned around and called Langstaff the most prolific natural goal scorer he's seen, and also said, "Don't forget, we've had at this club me, Morrison, and Gregory, who've all come from non-league, but Langstaff is a proper natural, and yet we're not playing him." You've got people, whether it club or the papers saying he's had toe surgery. According to the family I caught the train home with after the Watford game, there were about 8 of them there. They don't know anything about toe surgery. So what's the fucking thing? And if he did have toe surgery, why are you playing him 64 minutes midweek, 30 minutes, you know, before? It's madness. Is it more to do with the fact that you're not deciding the players, or the fact that the club now with the DOF has basically gone, we're going youth, we're going pace, and this is the direction we're going. And because of that means, unfortunately, journeymen and old pals and all of that lot don't really get a stay. We're looking now to do it this way, and That's the way it's going to play. And him not playing Longstaff is more of a stick up to the people who signed him to go, I'm all right. I've got Bradshaw. He's okay. And if Bradshaw had scored a hat-trick on Saturday, you'd probably have a bit of a debate. But let's be honest, he scored a fucking penalty what my fucking lad could have scored.
By the way, I was shitting myself when he stepped for the penalty. I know Ben.
There you go.
I actually did fit it. It was one of those penalties. I know if shit was bread pudding, etc. But if the keeper goes the right way, it wasn't like in the corner. It was lucky he sent it in the wrong way.
Well,
but just on that as well, going back to the transfer piece. So what I'm again struggling with the Langstaff pieces, and I know they're different types of players. We get Coburn in from Borough. What happens to Langstaff then? Is he pushed down to third choice? What are we going to change formation? Because
no, I reckon we get rid of Bradshaw.
I'm struggling with all of this. Nothing seems to be.
Where does Fleming fit as well, Ben? Where does Fleming fit?
Nothing seems to be adding up to me at the minute in terms of recruitment strategy. Are we going to be changing formation? Even if we get certain players in, what's going to happen to players who've already got at the club? It just seems to be fucking all over the place at the moment.
I reckon Nisbet and Bradshaw will be out the other way, mate. Ultimately,
100%.
But
do you think he'll let Bradders go, saying that we're light on players, and the fact that Bradders has started the first 2 league games when we've got Langstaff who's fit? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but Bradshaw's fucking Harris's mate. Do you know what I mean?
That's
Bradshaw should have been.
Harris ain't going to want to let him go, then, is he not?
Yeah, but that's where you just, you go. You've got 2 fucking 6'2" strikers. Why the fuck do you want a 5'8"? You're paying hoofball. Surely it's better to pay hoofball with fucking strikers over 6 foot. So unfortunate, it's all done. He's on his last year. Let's make a bit of money out of him and we'll let him go.
I'm just struggling with the whole piece.
I think the attitude is there, and just you need to go.
The alleged rumor, isn't it, that he didn't touch training Friday? I keep seeing that bandied about, and I mean, I think. Listen, do you know, if I'm Nisbet though, I would be fuming I didn't get an opportunity on Tuesday. So I'm not saying I don't condone him not to train, not to turn off the bus, but listen, that was the telltale sign for me when he didn't come on Tuesday, I suppose. And
we all know what Harris is like, Omar, don't we? We all know what he's like. He clearly didn't fancy him at the back end of last year. Then obviously there was that disciplinary problem with him and Obafemi. Obafemi was on loan, so that didn't matter. But there was obviously that whatever happened then has obviously carried on. And I would imagine Harris at that point has just gone, I'm done. He's done. I don't fancy him. He ain't playing. Anyway, I need to shoot, fellas.
No worries.
What do you reckon, Stephen, mate? On the Nisbet front.
Drop me a DM. Hang on one sec. Drop me a DM and I'll give you my number and we'll have a catch up in a week, fella.
I'm disappointed in the whole Nisbet thing. I really still think there is a player in there somewhere. I just think he's in Nisbet. I just think that for whatever reason, it's not worked. And now I've finally just given up hope. He's got to go. It's one of the worst investments we've ever made at this point. If he's not turning up for training, then you've got to sack him off. And that's just, it's a shame, but it's happened. On Bradshaw, I can't see us letting Bradshaw go with the squad how it is. I just can't. Nisbet, if he's not going to bother to turn up to training, you might as well, you're carrying him anyway. So I think he'll stay. What
does Bradshaw give us? He's a fucking striker who scored 3 goals last season.
Hard work.
He gives us effort. He does. He is a hard worker. I agree that Langstaff should be in the team. I'm not saying
no. Forget Langstaff.
But I can't hear him.
Have you muted yourself, mate? Anyway, let him feel what he's doing.
I moved to mine. Bradshaw got another year on his contract. He's there, right? And yet, every time he comes on, he don't fucking score. He scored 3 goals last season.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not saying that he should be playing, but you also have to remember that we haven't got the squad depth. You can't let Nisbet and Bradshaw go and be reliant on.
If we get Langstaff, we've already got Langstaff, and we bring in Josh Colburn. Of course, we can let him go.
Right. Hold on. Wait. So we'll have Coburn and Langstaff. There'll be 2 strikers at the club, right? You'll let Bradshaw and Nisbet go, and Langstaff, God forbid, gets an injury. So you've got 1 strike. You can't. You'll be too short. You can't let them go.
We've got 7 fucking strikers on the books right now. Right now,
Duncan Watmore's not a striker. And Maku's not a striker. You can bring up the list and tell me that they're
He's
forwards,
listed
but
as
they are
strikers.
not.
They are listed
not-
as strikers. That's
They're
the
not.
difference.
They're not strikers.
If the club is listing
Omar,
them as
please, for the
strikers,
love of God, please.
if the club is listing them as strikers, they are strikers. Yeah, it's as simple as that. If my nan had wheels, she'd be a fucking bike. You can't hide the fact. You know, if they
They're
they
not
put them as
strikers,
keeper,
mate.
but why
They're
are
not
they
strikers,
listed?
mate.
Why are they listed as strikers?
Listen, they can list them however they want. We have at this football club at the moment currently contracted out and out strikers for me.
7 strikers, according
Nah,
to the data.
Duncan Watmore can play as a striker. That doesn't make him a striker. He can play there. We played Ryan Longman as a striker last year. He weren't a striker, was he? He was just proving a point for Edwards.
No,
was
but
trying
he
to prove
wasn't
a point
listed as a strong. He wasn't listed as a striker though.
But players that can play up front, they can play in a number of positions. They're not out and out strikers for me. I just don't see it.
No. Sorry. Right. This isn't based on your opinion. This is based on fact from Millwall. Millwall lists 7 strikers, 7 players who are strikers. So according to them, they are strikers.
No,
It doesn't matter what you.
Stephen, in this scenario, I side with Stephen. It is you don't. They're not recognised strikers in the setup. That's only what it is. They can probably do a job up there, no doubt. But they're not there to be a striker. So, you know, listen. Right, long we played up front one game last season, and I was pulling my hair out at Huddersfield away. We can't have these players as options up front. But I think if we do get Coburn in, you do have to ask the question: who's going out? Probably Nisbet. Maybe we get another forward in. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. So I think, obviously, judging by we're going for Coburn, you know, we've been linked as is. There's a change in the shift. So the likes of Bradshaw are going to naturally get phased out because he's 32 years old. It's a matter of time. It's probably his last season with us, but he doesn't strike me someone would be disappointed not to play this season as much. So you probably want to keep someone like Bradshaw around. I'd want to keep him around. He does leave it all out on the pitch. The comments have been saying it as well. He gives it his all 100%. And you know, I think, Stephen, you mentioned the missing Billy Mitchell. I think you're bang on. I don't know, right? His purpose in the midfield is to get on the ball and ping it about, and he does that. But I think aside from that, his all-round game has been shocking the last couple of games. He's been really pouring out midfield. And I love charting a few things at Millwall. It's normally get into them, like normally press them. I love to see us press. But also, I love saying second ball, and we've been second. We've not been able to get into any second balls of late. So I think one of the guys in the comments said Bradshaw does win them kind of 50-50s. If he doesn't, he does enough to put the defender off his balance, and therefore we get on the second ball. We've not been on any second balls from that midfield, and that is a weak spot at the moment. And that is a missing Billy Mitchell massively because he does seem to find himself in positions where he's able to pick up the second ball, then give it to someone else, and off we go.
It's also not just second balls going forward; it's second balls defensively.
Yeah,
when the ball drops
so slow to react.
Yeah, Saville and Denor just don't get there quick enough anymore. Sav's legs, we all know. Maybe that's why the lad from Celtic is touted to be coming in. I'm not saying he's going to replace him straight away, but clearly,
I think we've got Tuesday, by the way.
We've got players who just there's the nostalgia with certain players. Saville is one, Hutch is another, maybe Bradshaw is another, and we're getting to the point now where if you look at other clubs in the division, they don't have 3 or 4 or 5 nostalgia players playing week in, week out. They've gone out and bought players that can at least try and compete at this level. Not everyone in the Championship is going to have a good season. Not everyone's got the squad like a Burnley or a Leeds or whoever you want to pick out. But they don't go on, Tom Bradshaw's had a contract extension. We're going to play him every week. And Sean Hutchinson's re-signed for the club. And George Saville, they've been good players for us. They really, really have been good players for us and have given us everything. But we can all see it now that perhaps, there are better options. You can bring Sav on for 20 minutes to kill a game or get Tom Bradshaw to run into the channels. But the sooner that these players come in, whoever they are, whatever the signings are going to be, we've all got our opinions on who they might be. They have to come in and be starters for this football team. And those players have to be on the bench and come in when we need them, maybe to see us over the line, not give them the opportunity to be playing 70, 80, 90 minutes.
What about on the recruitment front? Obviously, there's a different change and dynamic here. we're not signing anyone that's got a lot of championship experience. Coburn obviously is an exception in that scenario, but you look at Jensen, Roberts, we're linked with Aziz, Kelly. This league does chew people up and spit them back out. Like, it is not for the faint-hearted, the Championship. So that's why players like Saville have sustained a career at this level and continue to do it. You're right, Saville's maybe lost that a bit, but I do have a fear. Like, I'm liking the recruitment angle we're going for, and I think you've got to give it a go, and we'll back it and see what happens. And the proof will be in the pudding. See what happens by the end of the season. But I do worry. We'll sign all these players that haven't played in the Championship previously. Will that be maybe a problem in the long run? Will there, in the short term anyway? In the long run, it might develop, and hopefully we kick on. But this season, it's got to be a stay-up season this season, and so far, the signs are encouraging, at least for me. I think we've got enough experience in that side. But I do wonder, like, trying to pick these players out of, League One, League Two. I do question. We'll see. Bailey, listen, if we had more George Honeymans, mate, we'd be fucking top of the league. Don't care what you say. I love George Honeyman. Do you know what? Even yesterday, for that first goal, SA's goal, Honeyman is everything and more I want from this side. I'll tell you right now. I'll happily say that. But you could probably say rationale to Bradshaw for Ben. So I don't know. I love he's my guilty pleasure, George Honeyman. Hello, Jay.
I do think
Jay was going a bit fucking chaotic in our fucking group. I think so. He wanted to come on and raise a point. So yeah, go on,
as
Stephen.
Leighton says, it's going to be all right because Jed Wallace is coming back. So
I do worry, Omar, about your point there about the recruitment, about the lack of experience. And Harris's comment last season was that he was going to leave the club in a better position than what it was when he took over. And we all, question what that might be and how that's going to look. It could mean a number of things. But could it be that perhaps it's going to be that we're going to have a real young squad, potential, but that might mean that we get relegated and it's starting again, but we'll be starting from a better position than when he took over, not this time, but when he took over the last time, when he come in for Ian Holloway and had 40 players on the books that were absolutely woeful. He will leave us in a better position with young prospects and potential sell-on value, but that doesn't actually, might not actually mean.
Hang on. Sorry. He's not leaving us in a better fucking position. He's the one who's come out and said, fucking recruitment, I don't know what's going on. How the fuck is he leaving us in a better position?
Gallen, slow down over there, Team Gallen, all right? Listen.
No, it's not Team Gallen. It's just fucking realistic. It's realistic. He's not leaving us in a better position. He's now coach. He's not manager, he's coach. So he's there to coach the players. Yet the problem is that you can't have it both ways. You can't suddenly be, I don't know what's going on and all this lot, and then start having, start giving him the glory of the players. Because if he doesn't want players, he wants championship journeymen, then it don't work, does it?
Listen,
but I'm only going on what Harris said. Harris's comments where he was going to leave us in a better position. But what does that actually mean? Bailey's put in a comment about accepting relegation. I don't want us to accept relegation. I don't want us to go down, and I don't want the club to have that mentality. But my point is that is the recruitment strategy, whether or not Harris has got anything to do with it or not, I don't know. I have no idea. But are we going to be left with a squad that has potential and the possibility of selling them and being able to build the club, rather than someone coming into a bunch of, literally, like, as I say, you had back in the day, Stefan Meyerhofer, Gary Taylor-Fletcher, people like that. Whoever takes over at the end of this season, because Harris isn't going to be here at the end of this season, whatever happens, will come in and have a better squad to work with than what he did at that time.
Ultimately, though, I think you're right. But then if this change of angle, we probably have to accept the writing on the wall that Neil Harris isn't the man to do this job for us in the long run. And that's, but for me, I think I'd still want Neil Harris to be our manager for forever a day, to be honest. That's because I love the man. I do.
Yeah, so do I.
But maybe we have to accept, because if we're talking about someone to coach these young players and bring their game on technically and try to, instill a style of play, Neil Harris isn't that man. Neil Harris is, I know Millwall, I can succeed at Millwall, give me the tools to do it and I'll do it. But these are the tools I require. Right.
And that's a problem to a level as well. But I think all this is over.
Because ultimately, he's not that man. He is. I know what sort of Mill team is. It's 4-4-2, which I want. 2 wingers, 2 strikers, pressing, getting balls in the box and having a go. And I still think that carries some value. And I think it's underplayed nowadays because we tried it with Edwards last year, albeit with players that are catered to Gary Rowett's style of play. And no, I don't owe a tenner. I don't give a shit what you say.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
But yeah, so no.
You're
Sorry,
paying the
if I
tenner.
say Gary Rowlett, I'll say Rowlett and then I'll redeem it because, you know, that's all
20.
Rowlett. No, but no, ultimately, though, it is, you know, after a while, it is a case of maybe we have to move on from Harris. But I think the problem is, though, it's the here and now we need to focus on. And this is where it's obviously a trouble part, isn't it?
This is it. I think that there's been a change in strategy. It's obvious, we can see it. It was spoken about at the fans forum that we're looking at youth and we're looking at basically not just here now, we're looking at here now future. So we're looking at, you know, Kelly from the Celtic lad is 18, 19. You're looking at Langstaff is obviously younger than a normal one. Josh is 22. I think we're looking at Femi, which is 22, 23. You know, the players we're looking at are a lot younger, so they're long term. The reason there is NFL 83 says, you know, anyone proven in the championship is either too old or too expensive. And again, you know, I don't think we're going to go out there and spend 10 million or 10 million on a player because it's just not feasible unless they're going to have an investment in the future that potentially you're going to get return. It's not there. And also, realistically, currently, are you going to get a 5-10 million pound player going to want to come and play under Harris? I don't know if you will. And there's no disrespect to him. I just don't think you will because they'll want to play for an up-and-coming team what potentially is going to go somewhere or potentially look at going to Prem, and you want someone in a shop window. I just think...
Listen, it will be fine because Tango comes back on the weekend, Fleming comes off the bench, we win 1-0, it kickstarts a run of 10 straight wins, and we're first place.
I totally agree with you. I fully agree. Hang on, sorry, Stephen. I fully agree with you. We could have quite easily have won these first 2 games, and this wouldn't have even been an issue. It's just, I just think it's absolute fucking craziness that you've got the manager who I think potentially under Cav and co from before would never be coming out doing this in public. I don't think he would ever be washing his laundry in public like he's doing now. I don't think that he'd ever be moaning about this player, that player, or I need this, I need that. It just wouldn't have happened.
Laundry out there, mate. He's venting his frustrations at the fact that we're winning 3-2 in a game. He's had to stick a right back at right wing because he hasn't got enough players to try and satisfy what he wants to do. He's valid to criticise it. I do think he's overvented it at this point, and maybe he needs to just kind of cater it and stop, pull it to the side now because I don't want that skills to seep into the players. But he's right to have his frustrations. But
yeah, I agree. I agree.
He's so right mate.
I understand
he had a bench with 2 goalkeepers on the bench yesterday.
Oh yeah, but he didn't. How listen? How the fuck did he do that? But he didn't do it against Portsmouth.
No, but listen, he's right to be frustrated. We named 8 subs out of 9 against Portsmouth as well. He's clearly saying to everyone, I don't have enough players. Sign me some footballers. So, yeah. But the thing is, it's like the market doesn't move that way. You've got to wait for these players. But yeah, listen, it is a case of like we need to ultimately fucking get players in, but then you can't get players in for the sake of it. So it's a double-edged sword. This is where we're at.
No, I agree.
We've lost 2 games where we should have won both of them. Let's have it right. The mistakes were terrible from both games, but and this is why we can't get too roped into the whole relegation. But I do think like we do need to spin it on his head though as well, and also look at the reality. We are at the bottom of the table. It is a case of always see we are after 10 to 12 games, as Kay Jackett always said. But I think it's, you know, we need to try and fucking get some players in.
I'll get what
you're
saying.
Jay, sorry, mate.
I forgot what you were saying, Omar. Like, the thing is that we all know why Harris was brought in at the end of last season. We accepted it. And we thought, you know, maybe given a different situation like this one where we ain't fighting to stay up, we'll play a different brand of football. It'll be a bit prettier. We'll be able to move forward as a club. And it just seems that we're not doing that, even though he hasn't got a full squad to choose from, it's still the same style of football. It's still Cooper up long to 5'5" Bradshaw.
No, it's changed.
You know,
Joe.
it hasn't, though. It hasn't.
It's changed a bit for me.
It hasn't. And I don't think anybody agrees that he's the long-term answer. I don't think anyone will say that. We said it the other night. If Joe Edwards was given this situation now, it'd probably be the best situation that we could be, because I think Edwards would have been perfect for now. Wrong man, right man, wrong time. But he's airing his dirty laundry, which is agreeable to some extent because he's frustrated. But the way he's going about it is, we all don't like people we work with. You can't just go out and start slagging them off publicly. You know, it's this professional environment. You have to have a professional relationship, and that is slowly lighting a fire under Calmont Road, I'm afraid, and it's getting frustration from all parties, because some of the subs he makes could have been different. He didn't have to put Lenny centre midfield, and risk him like that.
Yeah, okay, but then he's a
and giving Langstaff
he's fresh footballer the other day.
No, I'll get it, but Mickey said it earlier. Like there was a point in the game where we're 3-2 up, and you think, right? I was talking to Mickey at half time. You think, go for the fucking jugular now. Go for the jugular. Get a marker on. Get Langstaff on. Kill it off, because we was so on top, and then we went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And SA at one point was right back, and you just knew, like you said, Omar, the writing was on the wall, and Harris needs to take a look at himself tactically and his own approach, as well as airing the issues that are around the club and with the recruitment. He needs to look at himself also, because he can't keep giving the players a way out by blaming it on everything else. They have to be accountable.
Who keeps saying relegation, by the way? We're 2 games in. We're not in a fucking relegation battle.
No, not right now.
No, I'm not. Hold on. I was going to say, I'm not saying that we're going to get relegated. I don't think anyone can predict after 2 games what we're gonna do or where we're going to finish. My point about Harris leaving us in a better position, we don't know what that actually means. Are they building for are they starting the plan for a complete rebuild? Does that mean going down to League One? I don't know. 2 games in, I'm not panicking about relegation. I'm panicking about potentially what position we're going to be in at the end of the transfer window, but not. Right, so we're not in a relegation battle after 2 games. No one is.
I'll tell you what I disputed for Mickey before we go on. What Jay said, that I interrupted him to say, like, the player shifted. There is a change. There is a evolution.
A slight change. There is a slight change. Definitely,
there is an evolution in this side for me. Like,
but it doesn't suit the players that we've got. It's not playing to their strengths.
But also, I think what we've got to be realistic about as well is the amount of changes we've made in the club internally. This is going to happen until it's going to be a stage of sorting itself out.
No, I agree, but them changes haven't happened on the pitch. It's still majority of the same squad. You know,
I think that knocks onto the team a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, to some extent it will do, because ultimately the players feed off of Harris. And if Harris is doing what he's doing and he's showing his outward frustration, that's going to rub off on the players.
That's what I will say.
You know what I mean?
Like, he said it. He's banged that drum enough times now. I am kind of a case of now kind of thinking, all right, Harris, you've made your point now. Listen, like, you know, as Dan says, that cuddle's gone to my head. I love Neil Harris, honestly, and I'll defend him to the hilt. Like, I love the geezer to bits, and I still think he's the man for the job. But maybe he does need to take into account that he's probably not got all that power anymore.
But I see some of the comments saying about Edwards wasn't the right man, wrong time. But you think now with the style that we want to play, the vision of the board of wanting to play the youth, expressive football, attacking football, and get younger and more exciting. Edwards tried to bring that with an aging squad without his players. If he had a full off season and the changes, and he had someone like Gallen above him, it would have worked. In my opinion, it would have worked. I mean, we won't never know, but I think that would have been the right path to go down now. Don't get me wrong, Edwards was disastrous at the time, but in this situation, with what we want to do,
yeah, there's a couple of bits in there. We're coming to them at the end. We're thinking, but Frankie has a thing. I mean, Frankie, if you one week, mate, you need to come on, mate, because you have some really good points, and it'll be good to get on because I reckon you'll rattle a few of the others here. He says, question for you guys: do you think this Gallen Harris resolves itself, and they'll both be here at the end of the season?
No, I don't.
See, let me just say one thing before you answer that. I think the problem is that Harris knows that his legend status and the fans love him. I think the biggest gamble what he made with coming out and being as public as what he is and done is that he thought fans would absolutely blindly follow him. But if you look at the comments, if you look at the comments across the forums and Twitter and everything else, people are basically not necessarily backing him in the way that they probably would have backed him maybe 6 years ago. People are going, oh, well, it's a new direction we're going in. You know, if he walks, he walks. It is what it is. And there seems to be a lot of support following that thinking, which you might not think it would. And to me personally, I don't think we even need to look at that. We are 2 games in, and what is he doing? Because if all the signings happen this week and it's got nothing to do, say for instance, I don't know, say for instance, we go out and there's like 4 million floating around, or 5 million four and a bit million floating around for costs for Josh Coburn. Say for instance, we pay that. All of a sudden, his point about budget gone out the window. The fact that we suddenly signed 3 players in a week, that point of everything what he's been saying has gone out the window.
But Coburn isn't the player we need. I'll be grateful if we get Coburn because he clearly looks a real talent. If we fucking spend 3 million quid for him, fucking fair play to Millwall. We don't need that right now. The problem is in the fucking wide areas, mate. The lack of options.
But
there
could be other ones there, isn't there?
But listen,
you're looking at Femi or you're looking at others. There's plenty of ones rumoured.
If you said to me £3 million and spend it on 2 wingers, or £3 million and spend it on Coburn, I'd say £3 million spend it on 2 wingers, mate.
Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
this is what I'm telling you. Realistically, we're not going to spend 3 million on him, 2 million on him, 3 million on him. We're going to.
What if we do?
Budget is limited at Millwall. We wouldn't though.
What if we do?
We couldn't. We couldn't, mate. We don't even if Belson fucking chucked in fucking £15 million, it can't do that in the modern game because of the financial fair play element and everything as such as well. We're on a shoestring.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can buy a player for £2 million. It doesn't mean that you're investing £2 million right now, doesn't it? You could basically go 4 instalments, 500 grand a pop. So you're not actually losing 2 million on one payment.
Like we did with Sam.
What I'm saying is there. Pretty much.
And also, I think Barry Rich's comment just now saying we need a target man. We do need a target man, but the priority for me is fucking options in the wide area, mate. We need something different in the wide area.
I think the priority for the wide areas is not necessarily having players out wide. It's having natural wingers as well. Yeah. Players that their natural instincts, like I said a few times, is to chalk their boots, hit the byline, and their first instinct is to put the ball in the box. The other side to that, though, of having natural wingers is you need someone to have in the box to put it into in the first place. So we do need a target man. If the club have got 3 million quid and they can still get the players that we want, the wide players, spend it. It ain't coming out of our pockets.
You know what I love about doing? Go on. No, doing this fucking show, mate. The narrative would be so different for sitting about these mistakes for the goals, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would be.
But then they're going, listen, lad, we're fucking doing it this year.
Is it just plasters over bullet holes, though?
The narrative
is putting plasters over bullet holes. That's the thing. Is it still masking the bigger issues here?
I'd argue we've probably deserved to win both games this last.
We didn't lose to Watford. We lost that game to Watford. Watford didn't beat us.
I think also and I know. I think we was talking. I think before I came on the show, the boys were talking about how we made the change we did. I'd back our team to fucking see any result, and I think Harris did. He thought, you know what, we're fucking 3-2 up. We've got ourselves in this position now. I get you what you're saying, Jay, as well, and Mickey about going for the gung ho. But listen, Bristol City were edging into that game again. We rocked them for fucking 20 minutes and fucking got under them big time. But ultimately, when it came to them moving the ball about, they were moving it quicker, brought on Scott Twine. We've not even given him credit for the third goal because what a fucking great goal. There's no one going to stop that goal. You know what I mean?
We just looked slow, didn't we?
We were slow to react to it, but still, you can't keep up with that. It was a fucking brilliant goal.
I think centre midfield, from centre midfield back, we're very slow. We're very slow at full back. We're very slow in centre midfield, and we're very slow in defence. Up top, we're creating because you've got S.A. Watmore, Bradshaw, that run around and Honeyman that have got that energy, got that pace and could do that. But it's in the areas, midfield and back, that when teams come at us, we just struggle so bad. There was one point yesterday where the ball's in the air and Cooper's done an archer and headed it and it's gone behind him. And for the life of him, he was nearly had a heart attack getting back. And luckily nothing materialised. But it is a worry, the pace and the energy that we have, because in a Harris team, you need to have it.
Right. There's a good point there, right? With Chulu, I think, right? He turns around and says, look, the hysteria after 2 games is fucking about. Paul, this wouldn't be an hysteria, right? If
finish reading his comment, mate.
Huh?
So, finish reading his comment. I want to hear you say Tanganga.
Right. The hysteria after 2 games is fucking embarrassing. We have Tango and Fleming to come back. And if we have a couple of wingers.
No, that's not his name. Tanganga's his name, mate. Come on.
Tanganga. Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you know it's even funnier? Listen, right? The thing is, right?
Tanganga. I'll be on the way up to Hull
Listen,
Saturday.
right? My thing is this, right? With Paul, right? It's not hysteria, right? We wouldn't be having this conversation if we haven't had to listen to every fucking press conference over the last 3 weeks of telling us recruitment. Across the board is recruitment. The fact that we've got someone who's meant to be leading the team and leading the players and giving confidence to the team coming out so negatively in the press, which is very unlike him, and, you know, showing us that there's obviously something potentially or not potentially going on. It's like, look, right? Man up, sort the issue out. Either fucking go make up if you don't get on with Gallen, if that's the truth, or if you don't get on with James Berylson, or you don't get on with other people there, go sort it out, yeah? It seems weird that all of a sudden it's all coming out now and it's all this fucking shit. That's where the frustration's coming from fans going, mate, those 2 games we could have won. And then we've got 3 players coming back in. So we've got Tanganga, we've got fucking Mayer, we've got, you know, Mitchell, we've got Fleming, plus these new ones we're signing, all potentially coming in later on in the season, coming, you know, each bit by bit. Realistically, we're not shit. And we were okay last year with these players, and we've added to them. It just, to me, I don't understand what it's all about.
But
It's
in a
just,
football manager's defence, mate, listen, you're right. The tools you got to work with. But in a football manager's defence, if you're promised these players to come in, promised to fucking, you know, sign X, Y, and Z, we say it all the time. Any manager wants 6 weeks on the training field in pre-season, then you hit the ground running. I'm not excusing, and we're waiting for the opportunity. So I've seen both sides here. I've seen the club side. We're waiting for the right players to become available. Obviously, you know, Middlesbrough signed that Conway for fucking £3.5 million. Now Coburn's been linked with us again. No surprise. They've got their man in. Now they're willing to let him go. That's how the market works. We're at the mercy of it because we're not the fucking players in this market. We feed off the drabs. But in Harris's defence, he's sitting there probably thinking, right, that's great. You're going to get me these players. Where the fuck are they? You know, and what if, like with the Femi Aziz situation, what if Stoke come in and go, Mill offered 1 million, we'll give you 1.5 million, and Mill will go, oh shit, we've actually put that money into Coburn, we was banking on 1 million for Aziz. It could change like that. So like, it's a risky game we're playing. I do fancy this approach. I probably side with the club a bit more on this one, but I understand Harris's frustrations completely through all this, mate.
If Harris was the manager and he would have been involved in the negotiations and things like that, Harris doesn't say anything in the press about this stuff. I think it's because he's not involved that it's bothering him because he's a head coach. But if he's the manager and we're in the exact same situation without players in the door, Harris doesn't say anything in the press. He doesn't air anything.
Maybe.
It's because he's not involved that it's bothering him.
I think it's just because there's no fucking bodies in there that are good options to him, I think.
He has got a right to be frustrated, but the way he's going about it is bad.
I think that's his frustration.
You've got,
yeah, of course.
You've got Massey. You've got fucking Essay. You've got Marcus. I mean, it was absolutely disgraceful to give Tom Laird his professional debut for minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking hell. Play him next week. Give him a full run, at least a start. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, there are players there what can give you what you're looking for. Yet I understand we're all armchair thingies. What I'm saying is, what I don't like is washing dirty laundry and thingy. Do you know what I mean? To me, do it behind doors. If you've got an issue, go air it and get it sorted out. Why do it in public? Why go, it's this, it's that? When we all know that he knows what's happening. He has to know what's happening. Unless he wants to come out and the club come out and say, all the signings what are going on, Neil Harris knows nothing about, or Neil Harris wants to come out and categorically say he knows nothing about them, then that's a different story. But let's be honest, no one is coming out and saying that, because I don't think it will. And the fact that I think out of a matter of respect from James Berylson, Gallen, Neil's experience and everything else, to me, I would say that he knows everything what's going on and he needs to sit there and do it. Gallen didn't make a decision to play Bradshaw over Langstaff. That's down to Harris.
Lads,
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot off in a minute. I've got to shoot off, but just listening to a couple of bits that you said there, and I don't know, just my thoughts on this. The only person that gets put out from the football club in front of the media is Neil Harris.
Yeah.
Gallen don't talk to anyone. Aldo certainly never spoke to anyone. No one even knew at the time who he was when he was here. Nobody else gets put in front of the media other than the manager and the players, but the players are not going to talk about signings and dealings and stuff like that. It's just not going to happen. So Harris is the only one. He gets asked questions all the time. He gets asked questions about other players. He was asked about Malumbi. That he's the only person that has to come out and do these kind of things. So he's the only one who's ever going to air an opinion. And obviously it's going to be his one. It's always going to be what he thinks, what he feels. Should they be putting out stories, or should he be putting out quotes, throwing other people under the bus? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It has happened at other football clubs. Neil Harris isn't the only manager that's come out and said things about recruitment. It has happened all over the Football League. It happens everywhere. What I would say is, yes, a couple of mistakes down. We're sitting here on 6 points. Omar's got that glimmer in his eye that we're winning the league. And unfortunately, a little bit like that one now. Unfortunately, we haven't. And the issues, the walls are caving in on everything at the moment because there's pressure, there's problems. Everyone's got their bit to say. You've got Gallen supporters or people saying it's not his fault, people on Harris's back. Whatever happens, we've got to get players in. They have to be signed. Neil Harris should potentially have had the squad he wanted, or at least close to what he wanted before the season started. Yeah, no, he should.
No, he
Yes, he
shouldn't.
should.
He shouldn't. He's got 12 months left on a contract. He's got one season. Why the fuck are we going to be buying players that he wants, not what the club strategy wants?
I'm not saying.
Same as
I'm
what
not.
Frankie
Hold
says
on.
there.
Hold on. Whoa. I never said. I never said players. I never said players that Harris wants. I said he should have had a squad. The squad should have been assembled, or at least close to being assembled. Whatever direction the club want to go in, the players should have been in the door before the first game. Not who Harris wants. If it's what the club wants, it's what the club wants. We shouldn't be this far or this close to the end of the transfer window and still missing 4, 5, 6 players. We shouldn't be.
I think you've got
Mickey. No. We shouldn't be.
No.
We shouldn't be.
You fucking listen, right?
No. You listen. Hold on. You've had your say. You throw Harris. No. Hold on.
We had to find 2 keepers.
Yeah, you've thrown Harris under the bus, and that's your opinion.
No, he's done it himself.
No. You've had your say about Neil Harris on this. Yeah, but you've had your say, right? The club should have put the players in place to start this season. That's just the end of it. Okay, we might not have had everyone in. It might be a couple of loans towards the end of the window. We are scrambling around to build a squad, to have someone said we've got 23 players. We've got the second smallest squad already in the season.
We're
not
4
good
short
enough.
from the numbers we finished last season with.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we'll have that before, I think. So I don't think
right. So,
but don't forget,
but we should have had it at the start of the season, Mickey.
No, I understand. I understand completely what you're saying, Steve, because I agree. So end of the season, we sacked head of recruitment, CEO, COO. So that probably didn't have any effect. That didn't really put a spanner in the work in any direction. The fact that unfortunately our keeper died, unfortunately our keeper died, and that basically changed everything. We brought in a new recruitment. We suddenly changed strategy, what it looks like, to suddenly start heavily focusing on youth. And all of a sudden, we're now looking and going forward. So to me, it's coming in, and I think by the time the window closes, we'll have a load of players in. But I think it's just there. I'm not throwing Harris under the bus. I'm just fed up with listening to every fucking interview of him moaning about something. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking madness.
But you
Listen.
can't. A man, you've just said about, or people say a bad, or what is it? The tradesman blames his tools. He doesn't have the tools in the first place to do his job.
I think
That's
I
what-
sided with that a little bit.
He doesn't have it. I'm not saying he should come out and say some of the things he said. I'm not saying that. But you can't just expect him if he's got nothing. If he's literally got no say in the transfers, he might know what's going on, but he's being told this is the direction, this is what we're going for, these are the type of players that we're looking for. He's gone, great, you go and get them for me, and I'll play them. Well, they've not come through the door, so he has to play the old players that he's got in the squad.
Two things. One, 144 of you liking. Let's get watching. Let's get some likes. But Stephen said he's got to go in a minute, Mickey. So the pair of you, I'll come to you first, Mickey. Just to end this, Mickey, can you say one thing you like about Stephen, please? Mickey,
Say that again.
let's end this. So there's 144 people watching. Let's all get liked. The second point was Stephen's about to go in a minute. Just to end this, Mickey, can you say one thing you like about Stephen, please? And then I'll go to Stephen and ask him one thing he likes about you. Just to end this. Okay?
I think just the fact that Stephen is going early, and I won't say why he's going early, but I think it's made him a nicer gentleman, and he looks shinier through it. He looks positively glowing for it, and now he's going red. Now look, listen, you all know.
Very good point, though, Stephen. Very good.
Right. So,
Stephen, can you say one last thing about Mickey before you go as well?
Hang on, no. One second. You all know this is just thingy, mate. Listen, this is all exactly what everyone out there is thinking, mate. We're just listen. We don't hate each other. We don't think thingy, mate. It is what it is. So yeah, but. There's no dramas here, man. Group
right. So just to clarify, just because he's put it out there, yes, my missus is watching and she is here, so that is partly the reason why I am leaving the show.
Up. He's got to look at me.
Right. A bit early, and secondly, what I would say, listen, this show is everything that it would be in a pub, at the Den, on a train, on the coach, if that's your thing. Omar used to be the Coach One veteran. We're all Millwall fans. And we all have our say. We all have an opinion. I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm not, and I'm sure Mickey, well, he might think he's always right. I don't know. But everybody has their opinion. They have their opinions. They have their opinions. And that's just the way it is. I side a little bit more on the fact that Neil Harris has possibly been led out to dry a little bit. We don't have the squad that we should have. I don't think Harris should be throwing Gallen under the bus. That there's arguments on both sides. Maybe if we hadn't made two mistakes yesterday and two mistakes against Watford, we'd be sitting here on 6 points, and it'd be a bit of a happier podcast.
I totally agree. Listen, the podcast is happy, mate. Do you know what I mean? There's 150 odd people watching. Unfortunately, only 49 of them are pressed liked. But unfortunately, we're getting a bit.
This conversation on Saturday at 7:27 on the Party Train to Hull. I'll be there to continue this debate.
Absolutely, and that's it. But boy, Jay, sorry, before you come in, I am going to go. But listen, we will sign players this week. We have to sign players this week, and they will come in. But they should have been done sooner. Yesterday was mistakes. Omar was there. I'm sure he'll be able to clarify it a little bit on. If we go back to the game, we've made mistakes. They need to be cut out. Once they're cut out, maybe we'll get ourselves up the table. But I'm not pressing the panic button just yet, and I don't want people to think I'm thinking we're going to get relegated. That's not it. All I'm saying is that we are in a position that if we don't sort this out within the next 10 days or whatever it is, we are in for a real long, hard season.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
I will listen to the rest of the show so you can all slag me off and throw me under the bus. And I will catch you guys on the next one.
Give one for that Mill podcast, mate. Thank you for coming on, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you, mate.
Love you too, Mickey.
Way to end it.
We done it.